Hi there. Hi, subscriber. Hi, someone who is not a subscriber. I have remembered my password after months and months of not uploading. Finally, I found my password somewhere under my bed, and now I am uploading again. I have been so busy and I could not interact with you for all this time. But yeah, I am still alive. I am still kicking. I still have skills. Hopefully, I don't have skill issues that will lead me not to upload. I still have some skills that I can share in this channel. And good news is I also gained more skills. The reason as to why I've not been uploading is because I was also hunting for more skills, and I can proudly say that I am certified data engineer by AWS. So, Jeff Bezos, thank you very much. So, the beginning of this year, as for most companies and where I work from, we usually set goals, goals that the employee is going to try to accomplish by the end of the year. So, the beginning of 2024, I was setting up goals, and one of the goals was to take on a certification for data engineering. And the kinds of goals that we set are twofold. So you have like performance goals and development goals. And development goals are like learning and so forth, anything that will make you develop as you are in your role. My role is data scientist, so I wanted to move into data engineering. I'm moving into data engineering, so by the next year I should be in data engineering. But we were setting goals, set the annual performance goals that my targets for the year, and then we set the development goals. So my development goal for this year was to be a certified data engineer, learn about data engineering, and the whole of this year, the most of the tasks that I've been taking at work was to do more of data engineering jobs, tasks, than data science tasks, and that's just to be able to easily transition into data engineering. So, with that development goal set, I had to prepare myself, learn more, and get to know about data engineering. So, the strategy was twofold. One, get a learning path to see what data engineering is all about, and then two, take on responsibilities that involve data engineering. So today I want to share with you my journey as a data scientist who is transitioning into a data engineer who wants to do a certification in Kampala. And it is a very long journey. The certification that I did is AWS Certified Data Engineer Associate. That exam, it's not a big deal to some people, but to me it's a big deal because it took me a very long time to prepare. I think it took me like 4 months or 4 months, and it was my first AWS certification to do. So I had to like learn everything from the basics to being comfortable to do that certification. So let's get started. So as I told you that my goal at the beginning of the year was to be a data engineer, and I never cared about whether I would be certified or not. But what was lingering in my brain is that I needed to have a learning path plus having something to begin with, and having looked into social media, like I'm a professional and you a professional, and we know that LinkedIn is like kind of our home. Look at people who are in data engineering, following people who are into data engineering, looking into what they're saying in terms of learning path. And from there is when now I got to know that AWS is kind of a big deal. Platform management for data engineering. Plus, where I work, part of our infrastructure is on AWS. So I was like, okay, well and good. Let's do AWS. AWS certification was what I decided to choose. And the reason is, one, people are talking about it. I wanted something that is of the hype currently. Secondly, we are using some of the tools internally. Thirdly, I have some of experience with EC2 instances, with Redshift. I've worked with Redshift for a long time, and S3. So I was like, okay, so I already have background in these services. So it's like, okay, I could take AWS certification for data engineering. As I'm moving into data engineering, I'm not moving as a newbie. I've already been exposed to data engineering before. As I've said that I worked with the S3, I worked with Redshift, I worked with EC2 instances, and so forth, plus VPCs. And that is to do with AWS. In Azure, I worked with Azure Synapse Analytics. I worked with Azure Data Factory and some databases. So I have some good background in data engineering. So I'm not entering into data engineering as a newbie. I've done lots of SQL. I know lots of database management stuff, as you've seen on the channel. So it's, yes, I'm a data scientist, but I've done lots of things here and there to do with data engineering. But as I was setting the goal at the beginning of the year, the feeling that I had was, I have, yes, the experience with several tools here and there, but I wanted it to be structured. I wanted to know what I don't know. That's the first thing. Like, I don't know this stuff, I don't know this tool, I don't know how to do this, I don't know this stuff. I wanted to know what I don't know and have a plan on to what would be my actions that I should take, what would be the direction, what would be the plan for me to take in order to cover the concepts and the skills that were missing for me to consider myself as a data engineer. Yeah, so that is why I decided to do the certification. Several reasons, but the main reason is just for me to build my confidence around putting data engineering in my CV or on my site. You can check the link to my site in the description. Yeah, so how did I get certified? I took the certification in these stages. One is to prepare for the exam, and then the other one was to do the exam. Obviously, you prepare for exam and then you do the exam. And preparation is the one that took me so long because some of the concepts were just so new to me. So I wanted to have both the theoretical knowledge of the tools and also have hands-on knowledge of the tools that I would be working with. Plus, I also needed to understand, you see, when people draw some kinds of architectures, the reasoning behind the architectures that people draw. So I just didn't want to do the exam and pass. I wanted to have an experience, an organized knowledge onto how people do things theoretically and practically. So the first thing that I did was to create an AWS account. The account that I created, I think I used my former school email because I had created several other accounts before and I closed them, and they refused me from creating another one, so I had to have another account created. Then I signed up for 2 courses in Udemy. I didn't use the skill builder for AWS, which by now I think I should have done. Maybe it could have made my life easier. But I signed up for 2 courses. The first course by Stefan and Frank in Udemy. It was a very good course. It covers a whole wide range of everything that you expect, and it has also some hands-on skills. And then I also signed up for another course. I don't remember the instructor's name, but you'll see it here on the screen, which also kind of, it was kind of repetitive, but it was me trying to have a solid knowledge on the theoretical background of data engineering on AWS. And then on top of those, I also was reading blogs and doing some other side quests. I can call them a side quest. For example, in AWS, you have EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, and you have ECS, Elastic Containerization Service. And for me to understand the EKS and ECS, I needed to understand first containerization basics. So I had to learn Docker from the documentation. The documentation of Docker is the best platform that you can have to learn containerization with Docker. And I also had to learn Kubernetes. I learned it from YouTube. So thanks to these 2 videos, I think I will find them to show you here. And from there now, so that means that I had to stop the course that I was doing and then read the documentation of Docker and Kubernetes. Then after that, continue with the EKS and ECS. And that was happening for several other tools. For example, for me to learn again Kinesis, Data Firehose and Kinesis data streams, I had again to leave and start learning Kafka to understand streaming data, and then from there look into RabbitMQ. Then from there I could now move into AWS as a platform. So it took 4 months because I needed to have a real solid understanding of what was happening and not just to pass. Yeah, plus also I'm just a slow learner. So after completing the 2 courses, both of them have exams at the end. When I was doing those practice exams, I was not passing. I would get like around, the pass mark is around 70, I think 72 or 75, but I would be getting around 65 to 68, and it would diminish my confidence, and that's why I had to do another course, which again diminished my confidence. I bought some practice exams in Udemy, tried to do them, and I would fail them. By failing, I mean I would get between 60 and 70, and I wouldn't be able to, I would not allow myself to go and do the certification exam when practice exams I'm still failing. And I would wonder why I would fail, because I understood the concepts. I had a solid background from the courses and the documentation, the documentations that I was reading, plus the blogs that I was reading, looking at YouTube videos, until when I was looking at Reddit, somebody pointed that we should look into Tutorials Dojo practice exams, because from there they explain lots of things, and they explain the questioning patterns and how to understand how the questions are answered. So I bought the Tutorials Dojo practice exams, and from there I could now fill in the gaps onto where I was going wrong, things that I didn't understand fully, because I thought that I understood things well, but it seems that I had not understood some of the things well. So when I would fail a practice question on Tutorials Dojo, I would read the explanation, which was very robust, very clear, and also they had, I think they call it cheat sheets, where you would go and read more about the tool that you are not fully understanding, and it was very, very helpful. So my recommendation would be to do the Stephanie's course, and then after that you do the skill builder. I didn't touch it, but I feel like it would have helped, plus the Tutorials Dojo practice exam to just connect the gaps that you are missing, if you want to do it. But if you just want to hear me rant because I have remembered my password, well and good. The course for Stefan took I think like a month, because I was new to this. But the second course, I think I remember the name, is the guy is called Nikolai. That one took me 10 days to complete.
Wanna make you happy and then she goes. 나만 혼자 남겨뒀어. 대화가 필요해. 너 먼저 나에게 말해봐. 너와 나의 이
So let's talk about now that I am ready for exam, booking and scheduling for exam. It's easy to book for exam, but if you are not in Uganda or Kenya, because I tried in both countries, but if you are in international countries, it's easy. If you are like in Europe, if you're in US, then it is easy for you to book for exam. But if you're in Africa, it's very complicated to book for exam, because first of all, the payments, you can't pay using your Ugandan card on the platform. So the platform that I was going to use is called Pearson View, and I think it is a partnership between AWS and AWS Skills and Pearson. So Pearson is like a service provider where you go and sit. They provide service for sitting for exam and exams for certifications. So my first experience was that I thought I would just go to the site and schedule the exam, select where to do the exam and so forth, and from there just pay and then go and do the exam and everything is okay. But the problem is that you cannot pay from the site. I hope when I upload this and the guys of Pearson View can see it and they say they allow some of these countries, because if I can pay for let's say Google services, or using my card, I can pay for domains using my card, why shouldn't I pay for Pearson View using my card? So I couldn't do that, and the recommendation was that you should go to a test center around you and they help you to pay for it. So in the account that I created for the exam, the certification, I added an accommodation. So accommodation is that I needed extra time. They give extra 30 minutes for people who are not native English speaking. So that is like accommodation of 30 minutes. So in my account, I had an accommodation of 30 minutes because I would expect 30 minutes extra when I'm sitting for my exam. Most people do this, even in India and so forth. So it's not a problem. But it's a problem if you are to register through a test center, because the test center failed to register me because I had accommodations. If you don't want the accommodation, then you can just go to the test center, pay your money, and they schedule your exam, and you can come back and do the exam. But if you have accommodation in your account, then it was a problem. It took me close to 2 weeks with the administrator, but they failed. I'm not going to say which test center it is. There are two in Kampala, so you will know which one, and it's the government one that failed. So you find out yourself. So I failed to register and schedule the exam through that process, and the easiest way was for me to send a friend money who is in Berlin, and the person who bought for me a voucher which I used to register myself. I don't know why I didn't do that first, but I thought maybe the process here in the country would be easier, which failed. Yeah, so that is how I scheduled for exam. It was a process where I just go to the site, put in my voucher, and then schedule the exam. There are two ways you can schedule the exam for you to sit for. The first one is you can decide to sit for exam in a test center, or you can decide to do it yourself at home. I decided to choose the test center because the electricity here at home is not stable. I also stay with a lot of people, so you never know what may happen in between. So just decided that, let me go and do my exam in the test center, which is conditioned well for someone to sit for an exam. And I went, sat for exam, very comfortable place with air conditioning. And then after that, out. So the result, I got it after 8 hours, I think. But I didn't see my mail after 2 days. So it's just me being busy. After the exam, I just went on my business. And then after 2 days, when I was reading my personal emails, and I discovered that I passed. So that's my story about how I got certified, data engineering certification from AWS. Plus, I have remembered my password. Until next time, take care.
Wanna make you happy and then she goes 나만 혼자 남겨뒀어 대화가 필요해 너 먼저 나에게 말해봐 너와 나